Is this thing on? Oh, please excuse me. That's the phone. How exciting. Who could this be? Hello, Mr. Gunn. What an honor. I am not worthy. Oh my. How did you get my number? Call you James. But how did you get my number, James? Can I call you Jimmy? Oh, I can't. I'm sorry, Lord Gunn. I didn't mean to disrespect you. How did you get my number? Your wife gave it to me. Oops. I have no idea, James, how your wife could have got my number. Anyway, what can I do for you today? Lord James Gunn. You'd like to offer me a role in the DCU? Wow, what amazing role would you like me to play? Would you like me to play like someone at 6 foot, good looking, a Casanova that all the women and men absolutely desire? What about Batman? You haven't cast Batman yet. Listen to my Batman gravelly voice. I'm Batman. Come with me if you want to live. You already cast Batman. Well, who have you cast? You're not going to tell me. So who would you like me to play in the DCU, Lord James Gunn? I'm not worthy to be even speaking to you right now. Batmite? Batmite? Mate, I'm 6'2". How can you get me to play a 3 foot Batmite? You're going to use the same technology Disney did for Snow White on the Dwarves? Well, mate, you can get stuffed. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X, on TikTok Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat BMouth60. Mick, your host with the most. A very warm welcome to Thursday's edition of the DCU Daily. And today I want to bestow and impart my Lex Luthor theory for this year's Superman, written and directed by James Gunn. But Mick, you've been told a lot about this movie already. Yes, and I've been told about what kind of performance Nicholas Hoult, the great Nicholas Hoult, has given for this character. And it's a mixed bag. Some people loved it, I spoke to, and some people wasn't so sure about the direction Gunn was going with Lex Luthor. But it's very, very interesting, everyone. Very, very interesting. And we should definitely look into something else, because Anthony Carrigan has spoken about this film, and this is what he's had to say. Bear with me. So yes, Anthony Carrigan, who plays Metamorpho in James Gunn's Superman movie, was asked about the kind of tone the movie is going to have. So Anthony Carrigan, Metamorpho on Superman's tone. I am hesitant to liken it to Guardians, but I do think that Superman has the same heart and intelligence. That's James' trademark, but I think it's going to be its own thing entirely. So what's he mean by this? That it's got the heart and intelligence of Guardians of the Galaxy. It has that vibe. I think through the metahumans we're going to see in this movie, people like Guy Gardner, Hulk Girl, we're going to have these kind of metahumans not really getting in the way of you should be a hero, and Superman's legacy will be inspiring them to be better heroes, where they become friends and a group, and one day a future proper Justice League and a family. That's what I think Anthony's talking about in terms of this film. But he also says Superman will be its own thing, and it's very interesting. Look, Anthony Carrigan is obviously a great guy, a great actor, and I know nothing about Metamorpho. I'm assuming he's an alien, right? Anyway, there's that. Now, let me give you my theory for Lex Luthor in this year's Superman movie. Number one, I don't believe that Lex Luthor is the CEO of LuthorCorp. I think it's a very big giveaway that it's called LuthorCorp and not LexCorp. So either it's owned by shareholders with one person running it, or Lex's father is still alive in this movie, and he's basically the CEO of LuthorCorp. But I do believe that Lex is working within a scientific department, or, somewhere, a subsidiary of LuthorCorp. But he's not the CEO, but he's working in the science department. And he's experimenting on human cloning without the shareholders, his father, or whoever's running LuthorCorp at the beginning of the movie. So that's what Lex is doing in this movie. And I also believe, and it's an obvious thing to kind of theorize, that Miss Tessmacher and Otis are his assistants. This is where he met them, in the scientific department at luthorcorp. Or he could have cloned them. We don't know how successful he's been in the advances of human cloning. Now, I want you to remember, originally in the comics, Lex Luthor was introduced as a mad scientist. It's only later on where they decided the mad scientist element was a hackneyed idea and made him an evil businessman in the 80s, because businessmen were deemed more evil in 80s comic books. But originally, he was a mad scientist, and it looks like it's pretty safe to say that James Gunn has decided to take him back to his mad scientist roots. How do we know he's experimenting on human cloning? We know there's at least one clone in this film that's a clone of Superman. And it could be that awful flying sequence that we see could be one of the clones trying to fly. It could be that that costume belongs to the clone, or clones plural, and we haven't actually seen Superman's proper costume yet. Maybe it's the clone or clones who are wearing the Kingdom Come insignia, and maybe Superman's wearing another insignia in the movie. Now, you're going to say, Mick, that's just cope. I'm just giving you a theory, because maybe Gunn's been a bit mischievous about what he's released for this movie. And it'll be very, very interesting, because if this is a great movie, some people will be happy and some people will be sad. If this is a bad movie that doesn't make much money, then some people will be happy and other people will be sad. I'll be sad if this movie's no good, because I'm a fan. I'll be unhappy if this movie's bad, this movie deserves to be slaughtered on the internet and in the real world. If it's great and Gunn's done the right things, it deserves every plaudit. And if you've been someone who's doubted this movie, and I've been balanced, I've sometimes seen the red flags and been constructively critical, and sometimes I've praised what James Gunn's trying to do. The things that I like that he's attempting to do with this movie, this will be an absolutely fantastical movie. And it will be very, very science-based, science fiction-based. So this is one of the reasons I believe that Lex Luthor is a kind of mad scientist who's working in a LuthorCorp subsidiary. Maybe he's even done time in an asylum up to this point. Maybe we see that his mental health isn't that stable. If Lex Luthor's father is in this movie, will they give us the ultimate Smallville Easter egg and call him Lionel? Now, Titans actually did that, didn't they? The Titans TV show produced by Greg Berlanti, which was pretty awesome. So we will see. Man of Steel had the most Superman, adaptation Easter eggs we got in Man of Steel was for Smallville. Zach really enjoyed watching that show with his kids. But we will see about that. So yeah, I believe this Lex Luthor is not the CEO yet of LuthorCorp. I believe he will enact a coup within the movie, take over the company, and rename it LexCorp. So I think that's what's going to happen within this movie. Again, I don't think I'm clever for saying these things. I just think it's pretty obvious that one thing, he's a mad scientist. He's doing experiments within LuthorCorp, or a subsidiary of LuthorCorp, with Miss Tessmacher and Otis. And I suppose your next question is, well, what do I think about that? Yes, because it's different. Because we've seen Lex do lots of different things. There's been times in Smallville where he's been involved with scientific experiments, but Lex wasn't a scientist. He didn't have scientific knowledge in Smallville. He didn't have scientific knowledge in Superman 78 or Superman 2. And it's interesting in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, suddenly he's able to create Nuclear Man from Superman's DNA. It's nuts. He doesn't know any science, right? In the two Superman films we saw him beforehand, there's no evidence that he is science knowledgeable, unless when he took one of the crystals, or when he was listening to the crystals off screen in Superman 2, when he broke into the fortress, he learned something, but that was never kind of catalogued. It wasn't something that we saw. So that was a bit weird that he could create Nuclear Man. But this Lex Luthor clearly is highly intelligent. He has science knowledge, and I believe he's working within human cloning. and he clones Superman in this movie. And it's clear it goes wrong. Could it be that it's the clone that goes over to the country that's the Middle East, but isn't the Middle East, and, you know, interferes, and then Metropolis, because we pretty much know that Metropolis pays the consequences for Superman apparently getting involved with another country's warfare, and then Metropolis gets attacked, and that's why Superman's getting those cans chucked at him in the teaser trailer. But I do feel this film will have the commentary of with Superman and American patriotism, right? I think that's something that Gunn has kind of worked on within this movie. And I think once, you know, if it is Superman actually goes to this Middle Eastern country that's not a Middle Eastern country, kind of starts saving people and helping people, and then this country take it the wrong way, then attack Metropolis, right? Then the American people are not going to be happy with Superman. They kind of touched on this theme and kind of didn't in a way in Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, with the senator from Kentucky, you know, making it clear that she believes Superman shouldn't be acting unilaterally. I suppose she would rather him take cats off trees, save cats from trees and things like that, but not get involved in big international incidents. But he's Superman. If he knows people are in danger, that's the character that we know and love. Superman should always act. But I do feel, if this film will ask the question, should Superman put America before the rest of the world? A very timely thing to do, considering, you know, the Make America Great Again thing, right? That the whole America First thing. And I think Gunn is absolutely going there, and I think this will be utterly controversial. But again, I'm happy for these themes to be enacted. Now, I don't know what your politics are. And you know, I keep on saying, I'm apolitical. I'm apolitical. I don't have a side anymore. I was raised to vote for the moderate left side of the political argument in the UK. When we were living in the UK, we voted for the Labour Party, right? So you know. But now I'm basically apolitical. But I'm a compassionate guy, right? And I believe, in terms of Superman, I believe Superman is a hero for the universe, not for the planet Earth, but for the universe. So I don't believe America should come first for Superman. He was raised by the Kents as a small boy. He wasn't born on Earth, but basically all he knows is the planet Earth and America, right? It's a bit like me. I was born in the UK, but I have Greek Cypriot DNA, but when I think English. I feel English, even though my DNA is Greek Cypriot. So that's one of the reasons I kind of, you know, loved Superman as a kid, because he had the same kind of challenges as I do. You know, am I Cypriot? Am I British? When I was in the UK, the kids would say I was a foreigner. When I come over here in Cyprus, place where I live now, but when we used to come on holiday, I've told you before, we were called Charlie boys, which is basically an Anglo-Greek Cypriot boy, girl, whatever. We were called Charlie boys, right? So we didn't belong anywhere. So I rejected all nationality. I have no patriotism to Cyprus or to the UK. I'm from the planet Earth. I'm a human being. I don't care about flags. I don't care about countries, just to be clear. Now, you don't have to agree with me, right? We can agree to disagree. One of the biggest problems in the world today, people can't agree to disagree. So we're friends, right? We can agree to disagree and be mates. High five. Please, 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 please understand that concept. But anyway, so this is what I think Lex Luthor's that's my Lex Luthor theory. He's going to be working at luthorcorp in the scientific department, in a subsidiary for luthorcorp, and he's going to be experimenting on human cloning, and he's going to clone Superman. And I think that's one of the strands of this movie, and the kind of patriotism, anti-patriotism thing is going to be another thing that Gunn is going to be playing with in this movie. Now, Superman and Lois, within its second season, again, kind of played with this, and I found what they did kind of interesting. And it looks like Gunn's going to kind of do a deep dive. And I like all this. I like all this because these are interesting things for Superman, because he always has been the all-American hero. But we live in a different world now. And it's going to be interesting. I think this could really upset certain people. but it's one person it won't upset, and that is me.